Hi and welcome along to AFTV. A bit of breaking news for you concerning Bukayo Saka. And I'm not talking about his brand new hot sauce that he's got at Nando's. I'm talking about the fact that at the moment he's away with the England squad. Couple of massive games coming up. They're friendlies, but big friendlies. One against Brazil and the other one against Belgium. And of course, Bukayo Saka, one of the main players for England. Well, the news has come out today that he has left the England squad with an injury, has left the England squad. He won't be playing for England in the game against Brazil, definitely, and probably won't figure in the game either against Belgium. Now, a lot of the reports that are out there is that this is just a precaution and that, you know, hopefully he's not too bad, but it's concerning. It's concerning because obviously we've got massive games coming up for Arsenal. We got the huge game next weekend against Manchester City. And then we've also got all the games that are running right up until the end of the season. And of course, Bukayo Saka is one of those players that I look at and say he needs to be fit for those games. Big games in the running, in the Champions League, and Saka is one of our most important, if not the most important player in that Arsenal squad. So Bukayo Saka withdrawn from the England squad to play against Brazil and Belgium. Now, what do we know? We know that yesterday he trained behind closed doors. And I know this for a fact because I know two people who were at St. George's Park where the team were doing an open training session, and Saka was one of the three players that didn't train. I think Harry Kane, there was also Henderson, I think, who didn't train. They trained alone inside. That already was concerning because it was like, well, why are they doing that? Must have a little issue. And now he's left the squad. How concerned should we be about this? That is the question I'd like to ask you guys out there. Do you just think it's a thing where, you know, Gareth Southgate knows the games that are coming up for England? They would have spoken to Arsenal. Arsenal would have said to them, listen, any little niggle at all, we cannot afford for Saka to get injured. As much as these friendlies, you want him to play, we need him for the big games coming up against Man City. So any little niggle, we need him back. Or could it be something a bit more serious that is worrying and is concerning and could possibly keep him out of the Manchester City game? As I said, at the moment, we're being told, the reports out there are that it's a precaution. Let's hope and pray that that is the case and it is a precaution. It's not the first withdrawal from an Arsenal player, of course. We had Gabriel withdraw from the Brazil squad. And listen, again, should we be concerned about that, or should we just look on it and say it's a precaution? Because, you know, every Brazilian wants to play for Brazil. It's a big deal. It would have been a big deal for Gabriel playing for Brazil in England, at Wembley, against England. I mean, that would have been something that he'd definitely cherish. So maybe he wouldn't have, you know, made that decision lightly. So is that injury worse than what we're being told? Or again, is it just a precaution? At this stage, with both injuries, we don't know. What we do know is that both players are going to return back to London Colney, which incidentally, I hear that's where the Brazil team are actually training. And as somebody pointed out today, it would look a bit weird if Gabriel was sort of over on a training pitch, training for Arsenal. And at the same time, the Brazilians are training over there and they're like, hey, hold on a minute. I thought he said he was injured. What's he doing over there? So, but it looks like that's a precaution as well. And hopefully that's the case. And listen, selfishly, as an Arsenal fan, I'm glad they both withdrawn. If the injuries are not bad, because those two players are so important to Arsenal. And if Arsenal are going to have any chances of winning this league, I've said it before and I'll say it again, we need these top players injury-free. It's the thing that did us last season when Saliba pulled out and Tomiyasu and Partey, and all these guys got injured, and the players that came in weren't of the same level, and then we fell away. We need Saka, we need Gabriel, we need Jesus, these sort of players to be fit if we're going to have a chance of winning the league. And of course, it's not just the league. We got that extra load of the Champions League as well. So I think it's a sensible thing to do that if they've got any little niggle at all, pull them out of those squads, get them back to Arsenal, get the physios looking at them, make them relax, no games, and then be fresh for that big game against Manchester City. So they've both pulled out of the squad, and I really want to get your views on it. Are you worried? Or are you just looking at it and saying, precaution, not an issue? Another bit of news today is that Arsenal played a game today against Queen's Park Rangers behind closed doors and lost 4-0. That's not great, is it? You know what I mean? Now, there was two Arsenal first teamers playing in that game. Tomiyasu, who we know, of course, has been carrying an injury, is back in the squad. We saw him return back into the squad for the last game, although he didn't actually get on. And obviously, they want to get him minutes. They want to get him playing. And he played a portion of the game. And also Thomas Partey, another player who's been out for ages. He's recently come back, but he's not played a whole game yet. He's just been playing little bits. So obviously it's a sensible thing to do, arrange a friendly and get these guys playing. We lost 4-0 though. Should we be worried about that? I wouldn't be too worried about that. You know what I mean? Two senior players in amongst a team of a lot of youngsters. I don't know what the strength of the team that Queen's Park Rangers put out, I'm not sure what that is. But at this stage, the most important thing is to get those players back fit. And this is a real critical point in the season now. If Arsenal can keep everybody fit, and at the moment, literally everybody's fit for the first time, but apart from, say, Urian Timber, literally everybody's fit. If we can do that for these next section of games up until the end of the season, we've got a chance of fighting on these two fronts and possibly winning the league and going far in the Champions League. Again, as I said, injuries did us last year. We don't want that to be the thing that does us this year. So just to remind everybody again about the breaking news. The breaking news is that Bukayo Saka has pulled out of the England squad. We're being told that it's a precaution. That's what the rumour is right now. No doubt he'll return back to London Coney, where they'll give him a full assessment, and hopefully it is just a precaution and it's nothing too serious, and he should be fit to play in that game against Manchester City next weekend, and won't have those two games of having to play against Brazil and Belgium, both games which would be intense, by the way. He won't have to play in those games. So that's the breaking news today. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV. Thanks very much for watching this video. And if there's anything else around this, any more updates, be sure that we will bring that to you. Thank you.